to replace our wheel bearings. In the process, we're going to rebuild the whole knuckles, left and right.
Wow.
And to do that, there are two of these nuts holding the main bearings. And since we could not find a tool to remove them, we got this, a 50mm impact. And we're going to disassemble the locker, remove the locker because we need to do that anyway, and then measure the hole in the hub so we know how much we need to take off this socket so it can get into the hole to the nut. The other thing that we just found out, this should be a 50mm nut. This is a 15.68mm nut. This is a 50.38mm socket. It doesn't fit.
Wow.
We're going to take off the locker, measure everything, go to the machine shop, turn this in the lathe. We're going to make a tool for this. I know that you can buy a tool for this.
Different tool.
A socket that fits in here, just for this job. You can buy it, but we could not get one, so we're going to make one.
Okay.
This is barely, yes, this is barely not gonna fit. It goes in, but I think it could be usable. Okay, we're going to take the tire off now and
What do you need?
and try to measure this more precisely because the tire is in the way. Power tool for this. Will I make it? Will I make it? $74.
Wow.
And what was my assumption before?
Don't remember.
74. Let's say it's 74.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, great.
No.
And this is 75.
Exactly. Wow. Snack time.
This is how you know that your bearing is completely shot. This should be silent. And if you listen closely enough, come closer, when I turn it slowly, you can see the wheels, the rollers knocking around. Maybe.
It's a wheel of unfortune.
think this will work. It's still very hot, so I cannot hold it. I need to file the inside a little bit, but this will be fine. Still have no adapter for this, but we have a plan. We turned this on the lathe, so it could fit our spindle now, but we still don't have an adapter for our torque wrench, and everything is on back order for months. So I decided to take a bolt, take a nut, put it inside, and make something like this. We are going to tighten this with an impact. The nut is more or less self-centering because of the geometry of this. And then we should have an interface for our torque wrench, so we can torque everything to the correct specification.
Wait, how are you gonna fit this? This hexagonal now?
With another adapter, with another socket.
Oh.
We'll use a socket to turn the socket.
Oh, okay, so okay, yeah, I understand now. So a socket will be in a role of adapter.
Yeah.
Let's say like this.
Well, crap.
You don't have a right
I don't
socket?
have a big enough socket.
Really?
Maybe.
Can you use a smaller nut?
I need a 34 socket and I don't have it. I will find one. Everything's gonna be fine.
Wait, but how big are those?
32.
32. But can you find a nut that's 32?
Yes, but I wanted the biggest nut possible because so it self-centers in here.
Mm-hmm.
But I will find a 32 millimeter,
34.
44 millimeter socket. Now let's tighten this with something, and then we're going to. We can always use our adjustable wrench to tighten this.
Of course, yeah.
This nut, but it seems that it also does not fit. Well, after that little problem with a bolt that was too big, we found a smaller one. And I think that this plan is going to work now.
It is.
Just let me center it the best I can. Yeah, it's gonna be fine.
Wasn't I suggesting this?
A smaller bolt.
Yes.
Well, I was hoping to find a bigger one of these, but
You can find a bigger one.
you can, but they're so expensive that I just decided to get a smaller bolt because that was much cheaper than getting a new 36 millimeter socket. I just want to make this look pretty.
Why does it need to be centered?
Well, we're not going to spin it very fast, but I still want it to be a proper tool.
Are you gonna use it afterwards for something else?
Probably not. Nothing uses this big bolts. This is only this is a purpose-made tool.
Oh.
Now we're going to tighten this quite hard, and call this done. Yeah, this is not going to end readily. Ready? So
Loud.
I'm going to call that tight.
Let me see it from the inside. Is it tight?
Yeah, it's tight.
Okay.
It's not going nowhere. We made a tool for one nut.
Cool.
I know you can buy it. We could not buy it, so we made it.
Okay, now you need to make a shelf for special tools.
We have a box for special tools.
Box, okay.
But yeah, this is like, we're going to use this now, and then in like 3 years.
Okay. That's useful enough.
This is our setup. We put a socket on the end of the bolt that's inside. I taped everything together so it doesn't fall apart. And this is our last nut we need to install to make this job finished. And I immediately forgot how tight this one needs to be. 43 to 65 foot-pounds.
Foot-pounds.
I don't care about foot-pounds. Front wheel bearing lock nut, 60 to 90 Newton meters. Oh, this is a little bit heavy. There's just grease everywhere. 60 to 90. I really love how they give a range for everything in this car. That is 60. That is 68. Let's go 75.
Maybe you should always put it on a higher value so over time it lowers itself.
I thought about that, and I ended up concluding that I should put stuff in the middle. Oh, come on. I really need a bigger torque range for this. Come on, you can do it.
Woohoo!
Lock nut installed. Does it still spin? Yes. Yes, it does.
A little bit hard.
Oh, the grease will warm up when you use it, but there's no rattle.
Nice.
So we'll put the rest of the front wheel together, and then we'll see if we did something useful.
Of course. So what are we doing today? I have no idea why are we here and what are we doing. What is this?
Since our wheel bearing decided not to be alive anymore, we're going to change it, and while we're changing the wheel bearings we're going to rebuild the front knuckles. And for rebuilding the front knuckles we need to exchange replace two kingpin bearings. And I see a lot of people fighting with hammers to put them in. So I decided to make a special tool to ease the installation of those two bearings, or more exact, the bearing races. Now I presume that this is the bearing number for the kingpin bearings. I hope it is, because this is what we got. And now I need to measure out the race, come up with a design, and go to the lathe and turn it.
So we're making a tool that doesn't even exist yet.
Well, something similar exists, but I've never seen it this small. I think... Actually, I have seen it this small, but I've never seen somebody use it to install these particular bearings. So we're just going to try it, see if it works, because we're still not there yet for the whole process. In the meantime, I want to do something useful, like this tool.
Okay, and what is this tool going to do? Like, what is going to be exactly for?
This is a race that goes into the knuckle of the front axle, and there are two of them, one at the top and one at the bottom. And then you need to hammer them out, those that are inside at the moment, because I think not only that our wheel bearings are bad, but our kingpin bearings are bad. And then you need to press new ones in, and you can use the old race and a hammer and tap it in round and around till it sits. But I want a long screw between the two races, and I just want to squeeze them together like a press, so it just goes in the place without any hammering and in a much more of a controlled way.
Okay, this is possible.
Yeah.
Like, you researched that. And
I saw similar tools, so I decided to make one exactly for this race and for these bearings, so we are prepared when we come to the installation moment. I mean, you can probably use the old bearing, but I really want to be gentle to the race, so we will make it from aluminium. So the only dimensions that we need is the thickness and this inside diameter, so that won't be too big of a problem. 33.67, good enough.
beautiful.
Right? Look, I know what I'm doing. 10.9.
Okay,
We need one more dimension.
third dimension.
Yes.
Can you sketch out this tool quickly?
I'm thinking something like this. This will go into here.
Okay.
You see that?
Yes.
A screw will go through here. There will be a bunch of washers here and a nut. and then you're just gonna screw everything together.
With
and
what?
With some wrenches.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that will allow us to more controllably and reliably put the race in square and sit it in. We'll see.
Okay.
This is the main reason why we decided to make the tools, because I really did not want to hammer this on the car, and then we ended up using it for all the bearings. So this is the new bearing race. I'm just going to gently put it here, and now I need to tap it a little bit. The old race is still down there, the lower one, that will locate our tool on the lower part. So we put in one by one. The tool goes like this, a little bit. That seems straight enough.
These are two identical parts, right?
Upper and lower part.
Yeah.
Yes, they are in the identical.
And they are both going inside of the bearing.
Yes, they're going inside of the outer race. Oh, I got the wrong wrench. Where is my other hammer? As the last time, we're just gonna tap it a bit. Make sure everything is seated. And that's it.
Really?
Yes. I mean, yes, you can always hammer this one in, but I think this is a little bit more elegant. Especially when you have two of them in line like this.
Did it go enough inside?
Yes, it's seated all the way. See?
Yeah.
New race in. Now we just need to do the same thing for the bottom one after we tape it out, and that will be installed.
Why are you so excited about?
This is the third custom tool that I made to make this job easier, and it worked beautifully.
Okay.
So
This is what?
this is the, I forgot the English name, the part that wheels goes onto, and this
Okay.
holds the wheel bearing braces go in here.
Uh-huh.
And I punch out the old one,
Okay.
cleaned everything,
Yeah.
and now I need to put the new races in. And I have the bearings here.
Okay.
I label one inside, one outside, because
Uh-huh.
internet wisdom says that you should not mix and match races and bearings,
Okay.
but I don't think.
But are those two the same?
Yes, they are,
Okay.
but it wouldn't hurt. So I put a thin film of grease inside of the bore.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm just gonna gently put the bearing in.
Okay.
I'm going to put this in a safe space.
What is this other part?
This is the inner race
Uh-huh.
with the rollers
Okay.
that goes on the wheel spindle.
Uh-huh.
So now what you usually do is take something like a old bearing race, or if you're lucky, a bearing driver.
Mm-hmm.
You assemble the bearing driver.
This is the thing you bought.
This is the thing we bought. It was quite cheap. In civilized parts of the world you can rent it. And you just start it.
Okay.
Just a bit.
So this is made for this.
It is made for this. And then now comes the part where you hammer on it.
Okay, what did you do now?
I just started it, just so it holds itself in. And now comes the part where you usually hammer on it like a maniac to make it sit all the way. But I took a piece of square tubing.
Yeah.
I bought an M14 bolt because this is 14mm hole. I put two nuts, lock them together with this washer.
Okay.
I put another washer here, and then I put an axial bearing. Just a
Small bearing here.
small bearing here.
Wow.
And the beauty of this is, take this. You assemble it like so. You put another washer,
Okay. We
You
are handle
put-
it.
another bearing.
Oh.
You put a washer, and then you take a long nut.
Okay.
And I put a little bit of bearing grease on this bolt here, and then you just tighten everything. I mean, if you had a press, this would also be an easy job, but we don't have a press. And I was just wondering how can I not hammer the bearings in? How can I use something better?
This is kind of a press.
Yeah,
What you
this
did.
is a press. I made a press.
And now?
And now I put everything in the vise.
Wow.
Or I really love this vise. You center everything. The bearing is a little bit crooked, so I'm just going to correct that. And then you just get your just your socket and the wrench. And all that you do is, and look the bearing going in. No effort at all.
Oh. Look at that. And it's easy to turn it.
It's very easy to turn. Look, I can use
Wow.
2 fingers.
Yes.
And it goes straight in. And then when you get to the bottom, you just tighten it. Tighten it. Just tap it a bit for the last seating, so you're sure that everything sits correctly. And that's it. Both bearings installed.
Wow.
That
Let's
was-
see the result. It's in.
Just let me unscrew everything. I mean, you can use an impact, but really use hand tools so you can feel what's going on.
Yeah. You don't need anything stronger.
No, 2 fingers and everything works.
That's what she said.
Come on. I made this bolt quite long because we'll use the same setup on the knuckles. Oh, come on. Come on. Come on. And there we go. Both bearings installed without a press and almost without a hammer.
Wow.
And they're
So easy.
straight and they're, I hope, undamaged. This is something, it's just oil. They seem undamaged, which is the main reason why you should do this. I'm just picking up the aluminium shavings because it seems that the tool is leaving some aluminium shavings inside. And that's it.
Okay. How can
Bearings
you tell?
installed.
Yeah. Okay. How can you tell it sits properly?
It has a lip
Ah.
that it has to go to all the way, and you can feel when it stops moving, and it just stops, and
Ah,
then you
yeah.
just step it a bit so everything settles if it's not all the way in. But it seems that they're
Everything is in place.
yes. And now I will just take a little bit of grease and put a little bit of grease on them because we're still waiting on other parts. So it just protects them from
This is
rusting and everything.
bearing grease.
This is just bearing grease. We'll pack the bearings, but until then I'll just put like a coating on them so atmosphere does not come near this.
I didn't know it is green.
This one is just like this. That is one. This is the other, just to protect it from the moisture in the air. We still have a seal to install, but I think we'll install that by hand, by pushing it in and hammering it down a bit because. But look at how easy that was.
Yeah. I'm impressed. Really.
Really.
Yeah.
And that's it. 2 inner races, outer races installed with fingers. That was beautiful.
Nice. I'm proud of you.
These are the kingpin drivers that we turn on the lathe. This is the spindle and this is the bronze bushing that goes inside. Everybody also hammers that in. or use a press if you have one. But I believe this is also going to work on this.
This is the first time you're trying this.
Yes. And it's going in more or less straight. Much easier than hammering.
How will you know it's in?
You feel it. When it gets to the end, it just stops.
I think that's it.
That's it. I really like this tool.
Cool.
And there you go. Bronze
Nice.
bushing installed.
Very nice.
No hammering required.
And here you go. We made two custom tools which we didn't have before. This is spindle nut socket, which was used only on a 50mm spindle nut. This is bearing driver, which we used 3 times for kingpin bearing races, for main wheel bearing races, and for bronze bushing. These tools made our job a lot easier. And see you next time. Bye!